Hey there, it's Tess and Christina. We're the co-hosts of Authentically Wild, a podcast that's here to shake up how you see life, relationships, and your healing journey.
This isn't your typical feel-good chatter. We're diving headfirst into the raw, real, and transformative conversations that can change everything you thought you knew about yourself and the life you're currently living.
Pulling back the curtain on our day-to-day lives, talking about relationships, parenthood, personal growth, trauma, and spirituality. Both of us have transitioned from lives that felt stuck and inauthentic to discovering a way of living that's raw, honest, and deeply healing.
The breakthroughs that we've had, they've been wild, and they're exactly why this podcast exists. We knew we couldn't keep these conversations to ourselves.
So if you felt lost, stuck, or like there's something more out there for you, this is your sign.
It's in the hardest, messiest seasons of life that we discover our truest selves. But here's the thing, the choice to dig in, that's all yours, baby.
So buckle up,
because shit's about to get wild. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the podcast. It is Christina solo hosting today's episode. I'm really excited for this piece. I'm really excited to talk to you about what has been for me one of the most important pieces on my journey. And this is anger. Understanding my anger, healing through my anger, holding space for it, learning how to channel it, release it, and really shifting my perspective on what I thought anger was and what I've been conditioned to believe it was to where I am now with it, which is understanding it as a messenger, a communicator of something really important that is being asked to be looked at within you. And so in today's solo episode with me, we're going to really explore what that looks like for you. I really want you to be reflecting as we go along here with the emotion of anger. How do you relate to it? What have you been taught about it? What do you believe about yourself to be true when anger is showing up? How do you respond to it? What do you do with it? We're really going to be delving into all things anger in this episode, and my hopes for you will be that you can find a new relationship with it. And maybe you already do see your anger in that way. And that is so beautiful. And I celebrate where you're at with that, because for me, it was a journey learning how to understand my anger and express it in a healthy way. So let's dive in. The first piece I want you to really understand when it comes to anger is that it is such an important emotion. I think especially as women, we've been taught to regard it in a certain way or suppress it. You know, when it shows up, it's not okay. All these stories around what anger is supposed to mean for a woman and what we're supposed to do with it, all these supposed tos, right? But I really want you to understand a few things here when it comes to your anger. One, it is communicating something to you that on a deeper level, you are needing something. And that below, and this is what I've really found in exploring my anger, below the anger, there are always deeper emotions that are wanting to be witnessed, that are needing to be seen. So there's that communication piece. Two, and this is one of my favorite pieces when it comes to anger, that it is protecting you. But if you can see that when the anger shows up, these are actually parts or a part of you showing up that don't feel safe, either due to something internally that's showing up or externally, and that the anger is a form of protection to keep you safe. And that often when anger shows up, there is a boundary that is needed. This changes the game, because you can actually start to see your anger as working for you, your anger as an ally rather than an enemy. And it totally shifts the story around anger. The last piece I want to say when it comes to anger in this piece, as it being an important emotion, is that often when anger is showing up, there's something that's needing to be cleared, right? Because if we think about anger as an energy, it's got a force to it. It's a catalytic energy. It wants to create change. It wants to move something. It wants to shift something. And when you can get to know your anger and see what's below it, you can understand that when that anger shows up, what's below it is trying to move. It's trying to shift. It's trying to be processed and released and moved out of your system because it's not yours to hold anymore. And there will be two things that we will do with our anger. The first is what I was always taught, which was internalize it. What we're meant to do with it is actually externalize it. And so when it shows up, that is that external force. It's trying to push out to be released. But if we go back to that piece of anger being internalized, right? And this is such the case with women. Generations upon generations upon generations, our ancestors, women have never been taught. I think it's becoming a little bit more known now, but women were never taught, one, how to hold space for their anger, two, how to release it, how to channel it, how to express it. And that's why I truly believe there's so much rage coming up in the feminine nowadays because we can't hold it anymore. We can't hold it anymore. All of the suppression that has occurred to women, against women, about women, to our bodies, the identities we're supposed to have, the ways we're supposed to be, how we should show up, all the things we should do, everything we should hold. I could go on and on about that piece. But when the anger has nowhere to go, it will stay in here. We will suppress it. We will hold on to it. We will stifle it. And then guess what happens? We get these chronic health conditions because if we think about anger as an energy, it has a high frequency. It's a hot, fiery energy. That energy, if it has nowhere to go, it stays within us. That energy, if you think about it, inflames energy, anger being fiery, inflames, inflammation. And this is where the intuitive part of me really gets curious with, well, if we're holding all that inflammation within ourselves, then what happens? Then what happens to the body? And I truly believe this is where we have so many inflammatory chronic illnesses. You know, and I did a little bit of research into this because I find this so fascinating because when I became a new mom, I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism. And there's hyper and hypo. I'm not going to go into that, but what I do want to go into is thyroid conditions, because when I began to think about this, and again, this is the intuitive part of me, I love to make these connections and these patterns. The thyroid located around the throat chakra, and that it's also very interesting to me that there are a lot of women who have a diagnosed thyroid condition. And when I look at that as well, some of these women I can also see are very blocked in their voices, in their self-expression, in their throat chakra. To me, there's no coincidence there. You know, and I looked into this piece and I got a few different data pieces. Tess, you're going to love this one. I know you're listening here. And this is from the American Thyroid Association. Women are 5 to 8 times more likely than men to have thyroid problems. 1 woman in 8 will develop a thyroid disorder during her lifetime. 1 in 8. And the risk for women is about 10 times higher than for men to have thyroid disorders. I wonder why. Could it be because women have been conditioned to stifle their voices, to suppress their anger, to suppress their needs? They've been conditioned to just carry it all. No wonder we have all this rage that comes up. And then, of course, we go into our unique trauma, and that makes sense why there would be rage as well. Some of the things we each uniquely move through. But I want to just leave that there because as well, I want to say if you are somebody who identifies as a male, this is for you also, right? I don't think this is just about women and the suppression of anger. This is about our society and collective and the suppression of emotions, truly. And that we have never actually been taught how to channel this stuff. We've been never taught how to process it, be with it, hold space for it, and let that shit go. So I want to take you on a journey, my journey of learning how to be with my anger. This has been such a healing piece for me, truly. And for a lot of my life, I felt and held a lot of shame around my anger. And it's shown up my whole life. Anger for me has always been a very dominant emotion, and something that I have realized in the work that I do with clients and my own reflections on my journey is that we will have dominant emotions that we feel, that we experience. For some people, this can be sadness. For some people, this can be guilt. For me, it's been anger. And growing up, I think because I didn't have as much awareness around it, it was just something that I experienced and projected. It was never internalized for me. It was always projected. As a young girl, into my adolescence, teen years, my 20s, it would present in different ways. One thing that I've talked a little bit about on the podcast is, as a teenager, I would get in a lot of fights. And it's crazy to say that now because I couldn't even imagine that now. But as a teenager, it would be my way, and I can see this now, why. It would be my way of feeling in my power when I felt powerless. And there were a lot of things that led up to why I felt powerless in my life. When I was younger, and this is something I've also spoken about, I experienced childhood sexual trauma from a man in my life who was supposed to be a trusted male adult family friend. I also went through a really hard piece with my parents' divorce, their separation, and thereafter their divorce in my teenage years. These pieces left me feeling very powerless. And projecting my anger, I can now see, was one way I felt like I could feel maybe a little bit more in control of what felt uncontrollable in my life. And then I found that when I went into my 20s and I was drinking a lot, I was going out, I was partying, this anger would come out. Oof, it was fire. But it was never something that I loved about myself. It definitely was not something I loved about myself. It was a real shadow. There was a lot of shame, a lot of guilt. And, I think there was a part of me that just hoped it wouldn't come out. But with the drinking, I truly believe like some of our deepest shadows come out when we drink. The hardest parts, you might notice that those predominant emotions that you felt throughout your life probably come out when you drink. It's because the ego dissolves and the real stuff comes up. But then I became a mom, and that was where all of it became too much. And I was really surprised at first. I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand why I had so much rage, so much anger, because my life was good. At that time, I was married. I had a career as a high school teacher. I had 2 new young little children. Max was 2, Zoe was a newborn. And that's when all of this unprocessed anger and rage was really coming up. And I was so scared. Because what was I supposed to do with it? I would go into my room. I would get Zoe down for a nap, and I'd try to get Max busy with something. And I'd go into my room and I would scream into the pillow to find some semblance of relief. But I knew that I had to figure this out. I knew that I couldn't keep going on like this. One, it was extremely uncomfortable and painful. And I felt so much shame because I should be able to handle it all. I should be able to hold it all. I mean, up until that time in my life, I thought I was, because I had found a way to control all the things outside of me, my external reality. And then boom, motherhood hit. All of this suppressed emotion and rage and anger and pain was coming up, and I couldn't control it anymore. Hi, my friends. We're going to pause here for a moment and just let you know, if you're needing deeper support on the journey, some of the ways that you can work with us.
Hey, thanks for listening. It's Tess here. I know life's challenges can feel overwhelming, but through breathwork, there is a way to find clarity, release those stored emotions, and feel more at peace. I offer one-to-one, group, and online sessions, and I'm excited to share my upcoming digital breathwork audios, perfect for when you need support on the go or in your own time. So if this speaks to you, visit my website, tessrouse.com, or connect with me on socials at @HerUnEarth. Let's breathe through it together.
Hi, friends. Christina here, helping you connect within yourself, develop your intuitive gifts, and tap into your deeper power and purpose is just some of the beautiful work I do with clients. I offer one-to-one deep dive soul coaching and one-to-one readings with your choice of an Akashic Record soul reading or an intuitive guidance session with Spirit. And if you're ready to go all in, I offer my Soul Empowered membership, which includes weekly live meetups, access to all of my online programs, my entire library of guided meditations, one-to-one support from me, as well as community connection with others on the soul journey. You can visit my website, rootsoflovecoaching.ca, or connect with me on my socials at christina.soulempowered. I can't wait to support you deeper on your path.
And now, back to the episode.
So I began searching, and I began going within myself to try to figure out what the hell was going on, because it was scary and it was unpredictable and I was suffering. And what I began to realize through my healing journey over the last 7 years is that anger was trying to keep me safe from what felt so uncontrollable within myself, from all of the suppressed, unprocessed, blocked emotional energy that was taking up space in my body and my system and my nervous system. And that when it would come up and out, this was my nervous system, this was my body, this was my deeper parts being like, help, listen, witness, hold. But I didn't know how to do that. And so it became a very slow journey of slowing down, of beginning to listen within myself, of beginning to feel what I had never felt before, of learning how to hold space within in my internal experience, starting to understand my emotional experience and seeing that when these emotions were showing up, these were parts of me asking to be held, seen, witnessed, healed. And slowly, as I began to do that, it wasn't that, well, there was quite a bit of anger that subsided because I was learning how to hold space for it and process it and release it. And so all of that deeper stuff that was constantly trying to come up had a place to go. It had an outlet. And so it was no longer as dominant and it didn't feel as uncontrollable. But the best part was that I began to learn how to do this within myself. And I began to realize that it actually wasn't about the external hardships, the pain, the stuff that happens to us outside that we have to stop, we have to push away, we have to resist. No, it was actually learning how to support myself through all of it. I began to understand my anger. I began to become friends with it. I began to get curious with it and create space for it. And that's where the healing occurred. And so I really want you to think about this in your own experience, in your own life, in how you regard your anger. What is the relationship that you have with your anger? What do you do with it when it shows up? And there's no judgment, there's no shame here, because I want you to remember that we've actually never been taught this until now, especially as women. Usually we're either taught to project it, externalize it, and often that's safer for men to be able to do than women, or suppress it. But I propose a different solution. What if we learn how to embody our anger? That is what I have been learning how to do on my journey. And there's a process here, right? It's about learning how to be with it, connect to it, hold the space with it, shift it, move it, process it, and then let that shit go, because it's not yours to hold. And the more that you can do that, I promise you, you are going to tap into such a deeper level of freedom, of power within you. And this is this embodied power. This is not an externalized power. This is an embodied power where you feel that in the depths of your being. And you don't actually have to do anything. It's just there. And so there's one really important piece that I want to add in here before I take you to our final part. And this is really important to understand when it comes to knowing how anger works. And this was something that I really figured out on my own journey that was, it totally changed the way I understood why my anger was showing up. The anger is connected to the nervous system. It is a form of dysregulation. And so when that emotion is showing up, I like to think that we have a thermometer within us. And when we go to anger, it is this heightened catalytic energy. When we go to anger, this is always an indicator that our nervous system is dysregulated. And so it becomes trying to figure out, what do I need to do to help bring myself back to regulation? You could think of this as like baseline in a thermometer. How do I bring myself back to regulation? And I'm saying this piece because while it's so important to go within the body, to go within the system to see what you are needing, it is equally as important to move that energy. And what I have found for me on my journey is that, yes, going within, seeing what I need, connecting, holding the space, being with, processing whatever is showing up, but moving the energy is equally just as important. And so there are a few different things you can do to help move anger, because it does have that energy. It wants to be moved. For me, some of the things that help the most are going running. And I actually will, while I am running, go through a running meditation to help take my thoughts on the journey with me. And then it's about dropping down from the thoughts, into the heart, into the emotions, into what's going on a deeper level. And then the energy is also naturally moving while I am running. So running, any kind of movement can be really helpful. You might find that going and doing a really hard workout could be helpful, or yoga flow, really connecting into the body and flowing through whatever that is that's showing up. I find that going on walks in nature can be really helpful, because not only is the forest grounding me, but I'm also moving the energy through my body. Cold showers are really helpful for me, especially if I'm in that really heightened state. Going outside in the rain, especially for a walk in the rain, even drinking a bunch of water. And then other ways that you can really be channeling the energy, dance. So you could put on like a really good song to shift that energy out. And you can even be connecting to the emotion as it's coming up and like shifting it, right? Shifting it in the body as you are moving the body. Writing can also be a form. Although I find that if I am angry and trying to write, often I have to do something before I get to the writing piece. The writing helps process. It does help release. But if I'm in a really heightened state, I have to just physically move that energy. So I say that because all of what I'm providing you with today is a really full process for you to learn how to be embodied in your anger. Embody with your anger. It's not just about building the awareness and learning how to drop in and feel, but it's once you have felt into that and you've processed some of what is showing up, then it is about moving and letting it go. And so for my final piece here, I want to provide you with a somatic practice to help you connect with and tune into your anger. So wherever you are, if you're busy right now, I encourage you to come back to this when you have a moment, when you can close your eyes and really drop in. So get comfortable here. When you feel ready, I'm going to get you to close your eyes and just allowing yourself to come to this moment in time. Become present to what's showing up for you. Just beginning to notice what's in your experience. Maybe this looks like focusing on an area of your body where you feel something. Maybe this is about bringing awareness to thoughts that might be showing up, or connecting with the breath, noticing how it feels to take a deep inhale and a deep exhale. And as you're settling in here, as you're allowing yourself to become present in this moment, I want you to think about a time that you have felt angry, whether it was more recently or a long time ago, allowing yourself to bring into your awareness this moment in time. As you're deepening into this moment, trying to remember who was around you. Maybe it was just you. Maybe there were others. What were you doing? Where you were feeling this anger. When I say where, just your physical environment. Maybe it was in your home, someone else's, another place, another environment, where this was occurring, when it was occurring. So letting yourself deepen into this memory, bringing yourself back, resituating yourself in the energy of the anger that was showing up for you. And as you are reflecting, I want you to start to notice what is showing up within. Are there thoughts racing? Can you feel something in the heart space? Are you feeling anything in the stomach? You notice anything with the temperature of your body or your breath? Starting to get curious with the physical or mental or emotional sensations that are showing up. What are you noticing? This is how you begin to drop into your experience, your sensory experience, your somatic experience. And I want you to hone in on one area where you're noticing something showing up. So when you feel into this anger, you're remembering the anger, you're remembering the situation, what was going on, what was happening, noticing one area of your body, zoning in, what is showing up. What are you feeling in that area of your body? What is the physical sensation that is surfacing? And as you're getting curious here, seeing what this energy is, this emotion, you could even look at it as a part of you that is showing up. What is it trying to communicate? This is such an important piece. What is this energy, this emotion, this part communicating? What is it speaking to you? Taking a moment to be in the space with that message, being with what is being spoken to you, communicated, and going a little bit further. What is it needing? Maybe this looks like a boundary. Maybe this looks like a physical boundary, a verbal boundary, an energetic boundary. Maybe your body is needing something from you. Maybe the heart. What is this energy that is showing up within you with this anger? What is it needing? And the most important piece is, how can you give yourself this? So as you are continuing to feel the truth that is showing up, continuing to feel and tap into the deeper wisdom that is being communicated to you, letting that settle in. Again, noticing your breath, the inhale, the exhale. Allowing yourself to slowly come back to this space, come back to this moment with me, present moment. And so this is a really beautiful somatic practice that you can practice on your own. I encourage you to use this. Come back to this episode and use this somatic practice to help you. Because truly, your anger is a messenger. Your anger is communicating something to you. It is such an important emotion. And the more that you can get curious when it shows up, even after, let's say you have an emotional outburst, right? Let's say you project it. That's okay. But come back to it. Get curious with what it's trying to speak to you, what it is communicating, what you are needing on a deeper level. There's always something deeper, and how you can give yourself this. And I promise you, the more you do this, the greater the freedom and the empowerment and the expansion you will experience in your life. Because it is not the absence of the external things that will bring us the peace, the freedom, the happiness, the fulfillment, the whatever. It is how you support yourself through these pieces and respond to them. I thank you so much for being here. And if you need any help with any of this, this is beautiful work that I do with clients because it has been such foundational work that I have done within myself. It has truly changed my life. I hope you have such a beautiful day. Please let me know if you have any questions.